Well, here we go with another edition of the 92 Mix FM Meet the DJ series. Up until now, you've met most of our on-air DJs, and you've also met Jen Sweeney, who is one of our voiceover talents. And today, you are going to meet our male voiceover artist who you hear all over 92 Mix FM. And before I introduce him, I'm just going to kind of update you a little bit here on who we're going to be talking to today.
Loaded with energy, loaded with fun, and loaded with music variety. And after 5 o'clock, usually loaded. This is the new 92 Mix FM. Hey, every time you turn us on, you're just gonna feel good.
Because who doesn't want to feel good?
The new 92 Mix FM. The best variety of the 70s.
I love the 70s.
The 80s.
Like, oh my God.
And the 90s.
Can you explain what internet is?
This is the new 92 Mix FM.
The one, the only Earl Mann. And Earl, welcome to the Mix FM Meet the DJ series.
Hi, Gary. Nice to be with you, buddy. Terrific.
And you know, Earl, you are one of the most iconic voiceover artists, I think, in the world. It's safe to assume today. I know that I have been listening to you for years and years and years, and being able to work with you on Mix FM is really, to me, just such an honor. So it's good to be able to get to know you today a little bit. So let's maybe start off. Where are you originally from?
I was born at a very early age, Gary. I'll admit it. But up here in Toronto, north of the 49th parallel. And lived here most of my life. Went to university in New York, the misnamed university, Long Island University, which is nowhere near Long Island. It's right in the corner of Flatbush and DeKalb Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. And did that for a while and then got into folk music. And
Wow.
And that led me to broadcasting ultimately.
So yeah, how did you get into the voiceover business? Because I'm going to guess that you were in radio prior to doing voiceover.
Indeed. Well, yeah, and how I got into radio was I was a folk singer with a group called the Gaslight Singers. And a fella came up to the dressing room after and said they'd like to have us on a radio show, his radio show, WTOP in Washington. I think his name was Greg Oliver. I'm not sure. Anyway, Martha, who played the girl, and Earl, who played the boy, we went to the studio and did the interview. And at the end, he said, "You know, kid, you're a natural for radio." I said, "Why? Because I have a face for radio?" He said, No, not you do have a face for radio, but you got good pipes and you're bright, articulate, and personable and so forth. And it planted a Johnny Appleseed in my alleged mind. So Dad set up a lunch. I called Gene. We had lunch a day or so later. He said, "I hear there's an opening in this small town outside of Toronto." I went and I auditioned, and they hired me for $65 a week.
So how did you segue into the voiceover work?
I started a production company that wrote music, jingles, and advertising, and did that for quite a while. And then basically the voice business began to pick up, and as that picked up, the effort into Man and Media, my company, I was able to back off until eventually there was a seismic shift in job performance, so to speak.
Now, we all know you from hearing you on Mix FM, but I'm going to guess that you do and have done many different types of voice jobs over the years, including probably television, I'm going to guess. And
I was the voice of CTV up here in Canada for about 25 years.
right. Now down here on TV,
Yeah.
what would they be familiar with that maybe you did the voiceover for?
Lombardi. A certain magic still lingers in the very name.
Earl.
This voice is always a hit with the ladies. Football, the game is a time warp with a young dream of growing up and... Come here and give mommy a big kiss.
So outside of voiceover, outside of radio, TV, films, what are your interests?
Well, originally I was a freelance neurosurgeon. I had to give that up though because anyway, no. My interest,
right, because you had to be able to have time to read those great Mix FM imaging lines, right?
You know, I couldn't have said that better. Yes, you're absolutely right. No, I'm into collecting. I'm an art collector and objet d'art, sculptures, and photographic art. And I read a lot. I'm into politics and the like.
Well, staying on that line, then here's the most important question that I ask everybody who I've been talking to, because our listeners all want to hear about it, and that is, what's your favorite food when it comes to eating?
Sushi, I've read, gives you parasites. So I used to love sushi. But now everything gives me something. I know, give me a piece of cow, a good piece of cow. And I'm an old steak.
A good rare steak, charred on the outside.
Yes. And make sure it's dead. And yeah, exactly.
That's true. Well, Earl Mann, we are so honored and happy to have you part of the Mix FM family. You make our station sizzle, and I'm sure now that our listeners who are watching this video are hearing you, and they're saying, oh my God, I know who that guy is. I hear him all over the place on that radio station. So I thank you for your time today and for letting our listenership get to know you a little bit better.
My pleasure, Gary. I love being with your station.